everyone, this is going to be Cueist right before he actually releases on the global server. He will release tomorrow, so we're going to make this video right now since no one has done it just so yet, or I have not seen any just yet. But Cueist recently got adjustments in the test server as well. It's mainly nerfs from his side, so let's see what it is. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about Cueist's Cue Ball. His Cue Ball is basically this ability, as you can see here, that you can deploy down on towards one of your contact points. But what are the nerfs? So here is the first nerf. Basically speaking, when you deploy a Cue Ball down, right, the animation of the Cue Ball getting on towards these paths is reduced by 0.1 seconds, but your force skewing is increased by 0.2 seconds. Let me show you to it here. We're going to press the Cue Ball and it's going to land in here 0.1 seconds faster, but you saw the backswing there, right? The backswing is now increased by 0.2 seconds. So if you see here, I hit my attack animation, it's pretty slow. Well, it's not that slow since it's 0.2 seconds, but it is pretty noticeable from before as well. So the backswing is now 0.2 seconds faster. I do think this is just a little bit easier as well when it allows you to actually, well, allows survivors to get past pallets or windows if, you know, he uses his Cue Ball, but that's his first nerf. It might not seem like a lot, so they could potentially speaking nerf this again. The next part of Cue Ball is it's actually the movement speed of Cue Ball being decreased as well by a slight bit too. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make 3 contact points and we're just going to throw the Cue Ball down. So apparently the Cue Ball speed is a bit slower compared to usual. Now, if you compare the last video with this video, I do think it is quite noticeable with the Cue Ball speed being just that tiny bit slower. This is just so survivors can kind of easily dodge it instead of it being so fast. And of course, this is his second nerf on that Cue Ball. Now then, the next nerf actually for this guy with his Cue Balls is actually the fact that your current duration of capturing survivors inside your Cue Ball is decreased from 3.5 seconds to 3 seconds. So you've less time now to actually put survivors down on the ground. And if your attack animation is even longer, or if you didn't time it properly, survivors will just get off themselves. Let's just actually have a look here of the actual total duration. Survivor gets kind of, you know, hovered in, and they're just out instantly there as well. It is pretty fast compared to how slow this guy's attack animation is. So if you don't time it correctly, you might not be able to get that double hit on the chair camp, just to keep that in mind as well. Another part of his nerf is when he captures survivors, remember it's from 3.5 seconds to 3 seconds, but also the animation of putting survivors back down on the ground is reduced by 0.3 seconds. This allows survivors to be able to, you know, utilize their flywheel after they're being placed down as well. So if we place the Cue Ball down, we capture a survivor. If we put a survivor right in front of us, see how fast that is. Let's try this again. We're gonna put the survivor down. Oh, the survivor gets captured. We're gonna go and then we can try hit the survivor, but the survivor has more of a chance into using that flywheel too, which is the really nice part of it all. Let me just do it again to showcase you guys. Let's put a Cue Ball down. We captured that girl. We drop this one down. You see how fast that is? We still have to walk a little bit before we hit. This honestly allows survivors to actually flywheel properly up against this Cue Ball. So if you flywheel for rescue, that's also pretty decent as well. The very last nerf here for his Cue Ball is actually, you know, its duration or its consumption rate when the Cue Ball is traversing across the chairs has now been increased. So the consumption rate of this Cue Ball, energy consumption or duration consumption, has been increased. So if we just put this over here and we make a triangle, let's throw a Cue Ball down. So this will be significantly reduced now once it passes, and you can see, right, it just disappears once without even a single transition. If we now try, let's say, just push a very short one down like this, let's say if you want to maybe chair camp a survivor, let's see how many iterations or loops this Cue Ball will make. Right, when we traverse across, that's 1 loop, that's 2 loops, and it'll disappear instantly. Well, we say loops, but it's only 1 full loop. It crosses the chair twice. Let's try this again. So this is 1, 2, and then immediately disappear. So as you can see here, the consumption speed is now faster now, and this just allows survivors to easier rescue up against, you know, the Cueist. So that's nice. That's not a bad nerf, honestly, but sad for Cueist things. The only one buff that Cueist actually has gotten with his contact, with his cue ball, is that there's now a manual cancellations now for these cue ball. As you can see, you can now manually cancel a cue ball yourself and put it into cooldown. Definitely is a really good buff, I won't lie. I think this is more better for his chase compared to chair cam. So what you will know now is they've basically reduced his chair cam for his chase. This cue ball is what you're going to need to capture survivors and hit them. But once again, they still will be able to fly with you no matter what, so do be careful. Oh, by the way, just one last quick thing. As you guys saw with the doctor, sorry, not Gardner as well, it's that when your cue ball reaches maximum 3-second duration of, you know, getting a survivor, once the duration ends, it'll just immediately pop it out. So yeah, that's also another thing that they forgot to add, but thankfully they've added now. Let's now look at some of Cueist's buff. So for Cueist's buff, his Maxwell Demon charge time is reduced from 24 seconds to 20 seconds. So it's a 4-second cooldown decrease, which is pretty nice as well, especially when it comes to chase 2. As you can see here, NetEase is focusing a lot on his chase compared to his chair camp. Another really good part of his buff, well, his chase buff, is actually the fact that when he backspins into the ground, it's now 0.1 second faster to actually start walking. So they basically reduced the animation of transferring from cue ball mode to human mode by 0.1 second faster. I do think you can kind of noticeably speaking, see the difference, as my English kind of just dies here, but I do think it's really nice. But let's not forget of one extra thing as well. They have nerfed his Inertia. And what is his Inertia? His Inertia is basically the movement speed boost and interaction speed boost right after he gets off from cue ball form. As you can see here, well, you can't see it here, but it has been reduced from 20% to now 18%. Cueist still does have 2 more nerfs that we have to talk about here, so let's get into it then, shall we? First and foremost, from the side of Cueist, if we just hit the postman here twice, what they've basically done is they've increased the duration of ballooning survivors by a little bit longer, which means when you pick a survivor up now, it takes longer compared to before. As you can see there, the animation here is definitely way slower. And of course, last but not least, with one of his nerfs is, as everyone knows, no one really likes this kind of Cipher camp ability that he has to reduce, and it's an inbuilt abnormal. So what NetEase has done is, instead of it being a 20% reduction, it's now 15% instead. So it's a 5% reduction there in total. As you can see, it's not as harsh as before. So the first one, once again, is 6 seconds, and then the next reduction is in 37 seconds. Now, since we're done with all the buffs and nerfs, we're going to talk about some optimizations they've done with his effects as well. You probably have seen this once I've demonstrated all the skills too, but we'll just go through every one of them then, shall we? First and foremost is that they've actually optimized the cue ball size. So I don't know whether it's bigger or smaller, so you can tell me that in the comments, but the cue ball size has been optimized. I think when they say size, they meant by the shape of that red ball and not actually the radius, but it's kind of easier for survivors and for you to see where your cue ball is. The next part of his cue ball is, if you guys saw the icon effect as well, when you capture survivors, it does shake when you capture survivors. So if we just turn off the cooldown duration here, once you capture a survivor on the cue ball, there is that shaking animation, as you can see as well, telling you that you have captured that survivor and you need to drop them down instantly. Here are some visual effects buffs, I think, in regards to his contact points. So from the skill here, it says add effects when contact points are within the closed domains and there are 3 or 4 on the field, as well as when a Cipher machine is within a closed domain during contact point. Add a duration prompt for survivors showing the nearest closed domain or contact point within their line of sight. So I'm quite sure from the duration part, it's actually these cooldowns of the contact point that they're actually able to see, so they can kind of distinguish when the Cipher machine will go into minus 15% mode, right? And like, as you can see here too, when there are more than 4 contact points on the field, I do think what they mean is you can see them globally now. And you can also see the timings on those as well. I'm not sure whether or not, oh no, sorry. You're able to see the timings within the contact points, I think. It's just a little bit confusing what they're really talking about sometimes. That's what I firmly believe is what they mean, but like, this one has cooldown. These ones don't have cooldown. Well, that one does have cooldown right now for some reason. This one doesn't have cooldown. It is a bit confusing, but we'll get to know within the game anyways. And of course, last but not least, there is now a peripheral vision effect for Cipher machines within a closed domain. If my English is correct, that should mean you're able to see the Cipher machine within a closed domain globally. Yes, you are, but like we were able to see these before, so I'm still a tiny bit confused on what they mean by that. But that's all it for Cueist adjustment right before, excuse me, he gets released in the test server, well, global server tomorrow. And of course, hopefully everyone enjoyed this small commentary of mine, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye bye for now.